we need furniture. All we're looking for is quality.
Sounds good, but Jared's definition of quality, a little different than everybody else's.
Brandi Passante spent years making sure people saw only what she wanted them to see. Fans watched her smile through every tense moment, watched how she deflected rumors, and kept parts of her life carefully guarded. But behind the scenes, the truth was far from what people saw on screen. And now, she's finally saying it out loud. So what was finally confirmed about Brandy? And why did it take so long for the truth to come out?
I used to love it, and now I think I've gotten to a point where I'm just like, I work myself into exhaustion, you know, and so I sit down in that seat and I'm like, I don't know if it's probably just my fucking age. I don't know, where I'm just like.
Join us as we reveal the shocking truth about Brandi Passante that left fans stunned before the camera came. On Storage Wars, Brandi Passante makes buying other people's junk look exciting. But the fun ends when the cameras are off. Though many of Brandi Passante's struggles in life have occurred in more recent years, she also faced many hardships before she became famous. On Storage Wars, Brandy is clearly up against a tough crowd with her fellow buyers, who are mostly men. But because of the way she grew up, Brandy was used to holding her own. As a teenager, she left her hometown of Houston and eventually settled in California. Given the kind of childhood she had, Brandy had one goal: to build a life for herself, different from the chaos that she had grown to know. She took up many jobs before eventually finding a semblance of stability in a carpet cleaning company in Tustin, California. It was there she first met Jared Schultz. At the time, Jared was her boss. But very soon, he wanted more than the professional relationship that a workplace demands. When they started dating, they built a business from the ground up, cementing their reputation as a power couple. They opened a thrift store called Now and Then, buying discarded items and reselling them for profit. The work was unglamorous, finding value in things most people had already passed over. In no time, their thrift shop began to expand, and the couple continued making the rounds at storage unit auctions. During one of those auctions, Jared was approached by a television producer who was developing a brand new concept. When the producer asked if he would like to speak on camera, Jared agreed, but they didn't strike a deal at the time. Later, the production team visited the thrift store to finalize everything. When they arrived, Jared was nowhere in sight. Instead, they met Brandy behind the counter, and just like that, she was on the team too. Brandy and Jared stole the show from the beginning and were labeled the Young Guns. The name stuck because they were literally younger than most of the other bidders, and partly because they had the energy of people still figuring things out in public rather than performing competently. Everything was going fine. They had their own stores, and they were good at reselling. Even though they did not have the auction experience of someone like Dave Hester or the encyclopedic collector knowledge of Barry Weiss, fans still loved to watch them learn. The fact that they were also managing a relationship, 2 children, and a business was what made the format work for them across 13 seasons. The show became a massive success as millions of people were tuning in every week to see what Brandy and Jared would uncover. Suddenly, people were showing up at their little thrift store in Orange, California, not even to buy anything, but just to get an autograph or a picture with the couple they'd seen on TV. While Storage Wars documented the public side of Brandy and Jared, it did not fully capture the private side, including the many hardships that defined Brandy's life. The cyber attack that fans didn't know about. Brandi Passante was shining on Storage Wars, and fans were getting more attached to her every episode. But while she was navigating her newfound fame, there was one part of her life that only a few have ever heard of. 2 years after Storage Wars started, Brandi Passante had a serious legal standoff with one of the internet's most notorious figures. Hunter Moore, the controversial creator of a website known for posting explicit photos of people without their consent. Hunter's reputation was so bad that he was dubbed the most hated man on the internet. When Brandy went up against him, she claimed $2.5 million in damages. If Hunter had only posted images, things may not have been so bad. But the erratic creator usually shared personal details of his victims, including their names and addresses, making him even worse than he initially appeared. Hunter Moore posted a nude video on his website and claimed the woman in the video was Brandy. When some fans investigated, they found that he never really had any real private videos of Brandy. What he posted was fake, yet he insisted it was hers. Brandy was not aware at first. It was only after she received disturbing messages referencing the fabricated material that she found out through X. According to Brandy, the situation caused her severe emotional distress, especially when she thought that friends and family might believe the false content. She decided to take legal action, suing Hunter for millions in damages. Hunter proved to be a really stubborn man. When he received the legal papers, his response was crude and dismissive. He reportedly sent an explicit image to Brandy's lawyer in response. Despite this, he failed to mount a serious defense in court, leading to a quick ruling in Brandy's favor. But the outcome wasn't what many expected, and Brandy's victory was quite shallow. She was awarded only $750 after the judge ruled that the damages didn't justify the full claim. But her actions had already put a target on Hunter's back, as only 2 years later, he faced far more serious consequences. After an FBI investigation, he was arrested and charged with conspiracy, unauthorized access to a protected computer, and aggravated identity theft. He eventually pleaded guilty. His case did not center on a single individual, but on a wider pattern of activity linked to his website. He received a 2.5-year prison sentence and was ordered to pay a fine and serve supervised release after completing his term. Even though Brandy received only a fraction of what she sought, her case, along with Hunter's eventual conviction, became a major turning point in the fight against online exploitation. For Brandy, the case remained a separate chapter in her life, disconnected from her television career and unrelated to her role on Storage Wars. Though the case didn't end in a way she would have liked, Brandy returned to her public life on television only to be met with another headache. More challenges behind the scenes. At the time, Storage Wars had already grown into a hit show. With the growth, Brandy's public visibility also increased significantly. What she started with Jared as a business built on buying and reselling abandoned storage units had turned into national recognition. The recognition also came with a lot of unwanted attention. Managing public attention, building a TV career while running both a business and a family at the same time is harder than it seems. It became so intense that Brandy had to move her family into a gated, guarded community for safety. The decision came after repeated concerns about unwanted contact and privacy issues connected to her growing fame. Daily routines changed. Simple tasks like going out in public required more caution than before. In an interview, Brandy mentioned that there was a period where even leaving her house did not feel safe in the same way it once did. Her mental health was affected to the point of seeking therapy to manage the stress and anxiety that came with increased public attention. The attention did not stop at public recognition alone. After essentially holding herself up in her house, Brandy said she started receiving unwanted, scary messages and contact from strangers. Surprisingly, some of the messages included threats, which affected her already low sense of security and raised important concerns for her children. While Brandy was raising her children, dealing with her declining sense of security, and navigating fame, she was also dealing with a serious health issue. The issue of her health came up when a fan questioned why her voice was so raspy on social media. Brandy responded by posting the direct message on her Instagram story, explaining that she has Hashimoto's disease. She also posted her medical report from the Mayo Clinic. Hashimoto's disease is an autoimmune disorder that directly impacts the thyroid gland located in the lower neck area. To this day, she still undergoes regular treatment for it. The condition is highly unlikely to be fatal, but since it's incurable, it still weighs on her everyday life. Brandy kept most of these experiences private while continuing her work with the thrift stores. She continued to play roles audiences were familiar with. Away from the cameras, her daily life was becoming more difficult by the day. In spite of all these, Brandy continued her appearances on the show, moving with it through multiple seasons. Over time, Storage Wars itself began to change as cast members came and went. Some original cast members reduced their involvement or left the series entirely, while Brandy remained one of the few consistent presences across multiple seasons. That same visibility, which had helped build her career, continued to shape her daily life in ways that required ongoing adjustments. In October of 2020, Brandy's father died, leaving her devastated. In an Instagram post, she talked about how she was a daddy's girl and fondly remembered how he would never get mad at her. She talked about her father in a very positive light, giving her fans the idea that her relationship with him was very special. The emotional post also alluded to the fact that Brandy lost additional loved ones in 2020. She wrote, "Now, if everyone I love could stop dying in such close proximity, that would be great." Though she did not elaborate on who else she lost, it's clear that 2020 was a hard year for her. But through all of these, Brandy had Jared by her side, or so fans thought. The split and the red flag she ignored. Almost every fan of Storage Wars believed at some point that Brandy and Jared were married. Everything pointed to it. On screen, there was hardly any difference between them and a legally married couple. Off-screen, they raised their 2 children together in the same house. So when fans found out that the young guns were never really married, many could hardly believe it. The shock of that revelation had yet to wear off when fans began to suspect that the romance in the relationship was also fading. Even though Brandy and Jared knew this was true, they kept it hidden, probably hoping to get things together. That never happened. Before long, the rumors came out boldly saying the couple had split. As the rumors gained ground, the crack began to deepen. The pair soon stopped filming together after the 12th season. Following that, Jared's presence suddenly dropped so heavily that he was almost non-existent. But with Brandy, it was different. She began to reveal what was previously hidden, stunning fans more than they already were. In an interview with Dad Diary in 2020, she claimed she had always felt like a single mother after the breakup, because she had the kids with her every day. While that seemed to come with the territory of breaking a relationship, she claimed it started long before their split. Then everything came to light in April 2021, when Storage Wars returned for its 13th season. From the very first episode, viewers noticed that Brandy and Jared barely interacted. Contrary to what the Young Guns were known for, they began bidding separately, and the flair that once characterized the show had completely vanished. It was in that season that Brandy confirmed what fans long suspected. She revealed that she was not with Jared anymore. According to her, the split was not recent. They had separated in the fall of 2018. But they recognized the importance of business. So for 2 years, they continued working together, maintaining a professional relationship despite their personal relationship ending. It turned out that the rumors were not just rumors after all. Even though the ex-couple wanted to keep their work away from their broken relationship, the tension from their personal lives quickly seeped onto the screen. In one episode, Brandy reportedly could not stand Jared, calling him an idiot over a $400 bid. And when she wanted a unit Jared had his eye on, she had her friend Mary step in to bid for her. Jared was not to be outdone either. He fired back in his own way, saying that if Brandy ever wanted a locker, he would bid to outdo her even if he didn't want the locker, and he did exactly that on a separate unit. When it became clear that their relationship had broken beyond repair, fans who sided with Brandy said she would have saved herself all the trouble if she had paid more attention to Jared's early years, which were shrouded in secrecy that, for her, might have been the first red flag. Jared was barely an adult when he was first arrested for felony possession of a controlled substance. After a second arrest, he pleaded guilty and served 16 months in state prison. The full details of that arrest would later surface as part of his criminal history. But when young Brandy met him in 1999, she looked past that. Even within the storage auction world, Jared was often dismissed as a bottom feeder by veterans like Daryl Sheets and Dave Hester. They had more money and more experience, and they looked down on his desperate, take-anything approach. He desperately wanted their respect, but his petty behavior and all-around sour attitude towards his friends and his partner kept him locked out of the inner circle. Brandy saw all these and still settled with him. But on one quiet evening in a bar, everything finally shattered. The final straw and more seasons. According to some media outlets, ever since Brandy went public about the breakdown of her relationship with Jared, she had always wanted a clean separation from him. 10 days after the premiere of Storage Wars Season 13, the opportunity finally came. According to reports from TMZ and Oxygen, Brandi Passante was out with friends at a bar in Lake Forest, California, when Jared arrived. He walked up to Brandy, and for reasons known only to them, an argument broke out. Brandy told police that Jared pushed her twice during the heated exchange. In her statement, she said she just wanted him to leave, but he refused. Jared refused to admit to the claims. In an interview with TMZ, he said through his lawyer that he never touched Brandy and insisted it was only a misunderstanding during an argument. Jared left the bar before the police arrived, so he was not arrested right away. However, Brandy sought a restraining order against him. Later, the Orange County District Attorney's Office reviewed the case and officially charged him with 1 count of misdemeanor domestic violence. A court hearing was set after Jared pleaded not guilty. According to legal sources cited by TMZ, prosecutors refused to offer a plea deal that would drop the charge, meaning the case went forward. People who saw this at the bar gave different statements about what happened, which made the investigation very hard. The final result of the case was never clearly reported, leaving many details in the dark. Even without a clear conclusion, the accusation itself caused serious damage to Jared's career. A few months later, Brandy showed that she was free by taking to Instagram and posting a photo of a new tattoo that literally read "Free," with a bird flying away. After the bar incident, Jared was effectively let go, while Brandy continued. In June 2025, the show returned for its 16th season, and Brandy was there with other stars. She was the only original cast member to have appeared in every single season since the show started in 2010. She practically holds a record no one else in the original cast matched. She said she was more excited about season 16 than any previous season. She acknowledged that working in a predominantly male industry had always required her to be harder than the room expected, and that she had spent years learning how to compete on those terms. This time, every win was entirely hers. Besides Storage Wars, Brandy has also built something she can call hers. She launched her podcast, The Real Reality with Brandi Passante, in August 2025. Her podcast premiered on YouTube and across all major platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else, releasing new episodes every Tuesday. She talked about the lawsuit, the split, and about the years spent carrying a version of herself built by other people's expectations. It was the first time in over a decade that Brandy presented a version of herself that was not arranged for a TV show. Presently, Brandy's life seems to be going way better than when she was hooked on a romance that was heading nowhere. When Storage Wars returned in February 2026 for season 17, Brandy was back yet again. She's still taking care of her children, who have adults, by the way. Her son had turned 22, and her daughter was approaching 20. She told interviewers that when they finished school, the structure of her daily life changed abruptly, and she had to ask herself what to do with her time. In the end, she filled it with the podcast, the show, and the platform she had been building steadily and without fanfare. Would Brandy have reached her current height if she remained with Jared? And did she deserve more than what she received in the Hunter's case? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.